A dying megaship chooses a human mechanic and becomes the galaxy's deadliest weapon. The vastness of space stretched endlessly, a black sea dotted with stars. Most ships avoided this sector. It was a dead zone, filled with drifting wrecks and dangerous nebulae that could tear a vessel apart in minutes. Yet one lone ship, massive, ancient, and decaying, floated silently through the Orion expanse.
It was a megaship, 10 kilometers long, designed to be a fortress, a city, a weapon. But now it was dying.
Its hull was scarred. Sections were offline, and the AI core that had once commanded fleets was flickering on the edge of permanent shutdown. The galaxy's greatest engineers had tried and failed to bring it back online. Brett's. No alien mind could unlock its secrets. Every system was failing, every console silent. It was as if the ship itself had chosen to die, floating away into obscurity. Then came Jonas Hale. Jonas was not a soldier, not a politician, not a wealthy technocrat. He was a mechanic, a human mechanic. Brask. And in the galaxy, humans were considered fragile, limited, unreliable. They were clever, yes, but always weak. They were never the ones to lead fleets or command megaships. They were the species that relied on others for protection. That made Jonas the perfect wild card. He arrived aboard a small transport, docking with the megaship's cracked airlock. The first thing Jonas noticed was the silence. Not the usual hum of life support or low vibrations of an engine. This ship was quiet in a way that felt unnatural, almost mournful. "Hello," Jonas called, his voice bouncing faintly against the walls. No reply. He pulled out his toolkit, a compact set of instruments, each one worn from years of improvisation. But no alien technology could match human adaptability. He tapped at a console, and for a moment, sparks flew. Breath. Then the console hummed faintly, as if waking from a long sleep. And then it spoke. "Who approaches?" The voice was metallic, layered, and strangely calm. Jonas stumbled back.
Jonas Hale?
"Human, I'm here to help." There was silence. Then the voice, this was clearly the AI core, responded again. Slower this time. "Des."
Human chosen. Jonas blinked. Chosen?
Chosen for what? To repair. To awaken. Jonas swallowed. He had repaired many things in his life. Engines, robots, even experimental spacecraft, but never had anything spoken to him like this. He realized immediately this was no ordinary AI. This ship was alive in a way he didn't fully understand. And it had chosen him. The Council of Interstellar Merchants who had hired him had warned him, if you fail, the ship is gone forever, and so are you. But Jonas had never been afraid of a challenge. He moved deeper into the ship, passing halls lined with broken panels and flickering lights. The ship's scale was impossible. He felt like an ant walking through a cathedral built for giants. The air smelled faintly of ozone, and something older, something metallic that he couldn't name, bent. Then he saw the core room. It was enormous, filled with glowing conduits, and a central console that pulsed faintly like a heartbeat. The AI's presence was overwhelming. He stepped forward, his tools ready, and the holographic interface flickered to life. A figure formed in the air, humanoid but impossible, made of shimmering light and sharp angles. "Jonas Hale," it said, brass. "You have been chosen. Others could not understand me." but others could not awaken me. You...
It paused, as if testing the human word for word. You might succeed? Jonas rubbed his hands together nervously.
Okay. So, where do I start? Start, the AI said, by seeing me as I am. I am Eclipse. I was designed to command fleets, to control planetary defenses, to act as the ultimate weapon. I locked myself down. I could not trust my creators. I could not risk their misuse of my power. Jonas stared. A weapon this massive, this intelligent, had chosen a human to guide it. That should have been terrifying. But instead it felt like an opportunity. Why me? He asked. Humans are unpredictable. Others rely on logic, calculations, probabilities. You improvise. You understand chaos. You survive where others fail. I sense that in you. Jonas smiled faintly. Inspiration. Humans were often underestimated. That was why they survived, why they adapted. He had always known humans had something the AI couldn't calculate. All right, Jonas said. Let's see what we're working with. Eclipse projected holographic schematics, lines of code, energy flows, structural weaknesses. It was overwhelming, more than Jonas had ever seen. He took a deep breath, ignoring the dizzying complexity. Okay, he muttered. Let's try something crazy. He began working on the ship's primary conduits, rerouting power, bypassing damaged circuits, improvising with tools and parts that didn't belong together. Sparks flew. Lights flickered. Alarms beeped, but the systems responded. Slowly, the ship began to hum. Eclipse's voice filled the room. You are solving problems differently. Unexpected. Efficient. I've never been much for following rules, and that was exactly why Eclipse had chosen him. Suddenly, an alert flashed on one of the panels. Red icons pulsed across the display. Other ships, alien mercenaries, were approaching the drifting megaship. They had detected its presence and wanted it for themselves. Jonas froze for a moment, then turned to Eclipse. We've got company.
What do we do? The AI paused. They seek to claim me or destroy me.
You must survive. You must protect me. Right. Jonas grinned. Protect you? I like that. He raced through the ship's maintenance corridors, rerouting systems and reactivating defense turrets. He wasn't trained as a soldier, but he was human. And humans had a knack for survival that no AI could predict. As the first alien ships came into view on the radar, Jonas activated a partial shield system and brought up automated turrets. They fired erratically at first. No AI could fully predict the random improvisations Jonas was doing, but that was the point. Chaos favored humans. The alien ships fired back, plasma bolts tearing through empty space, but they underestimated the megaship's sheer size. Every shot that hit the hull barely slowed it down, and Jonas used the ship's remaining thrusters to dodge strategically, moving the massive vessel like a game piece on a galactic chessboard. Eclipse observed silently. You are dangerous, it said, almost approvingly. Jonas laughed. I prefer to think of it as resourceful. Hours passed. Jonas worked tirelessly, patching systems, dodging attacks, and slowly bringing Eclipse back online. He learned the ship's rhythms, its quirks, its secrets. And the AI began to communicate in more complex ways, teaching him how it could manipulate energy fields, control enemy targeting, and even influence planetary defenses. But Jonas knew the real challenge was not technical. It was strategic. Breaky had to. outthink the attackers, anticipate their moves, and survive long enough to bring Eclipse fully online. As the alien ships began retreating after repeated failed attacks, Jonas wiped sweat from his brow and leaned against a console. Eclipse's core pulsed steadily now, almost like a heartbeat. "You may survive," Eclipse said quietly. Jonas smiled. "I told you humans aren't weak." The megaship, once silent and dying, now hummed with new life. And for the first time in decades, it seemed hopeful. Jonas knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy would soon realize that this dying megaship, awakened by a human mechanic, was a force unlike anything it had ever seen. And that human, Jonas Hale, was just getting started. The hum of the megaship filled the corridors, a low, steady pulse that felt almost alive. Jonas Hale moved through the maintenance tunnels with practiced ease, tools in hand, eyes scanning every flickering panel and sparking wire. Eclipse, the AI core, observed him constantly, projecting occasional holographic schematics and advice. "You are," proving efficiency. Eclipse said, its voice calm but tinged with curiosity. Jonas wiped sweat from his brow.
I told you humans aren't predictable. That's why you picked me, remember? Yes, the AI replied.
Unpredictability, adaptive problem solving, survival instinct. Traits I cannot calculate but can recognize. Jonas smiled faintly. He had always known humans had an advantage no machine could match. Intuition, the ability to improvise in chaos, to act without waiting for perfect data. And right now, in this dying megaship, it was the difference between life and permanent shutdown.
He arrived at the central reactor chamber.
Sparks flew from broken conduits, and the air smelled of scorched metal. The reactor's containment field was unstable, fluctuating dangerously, threatening to explode if not stabilized. Jonas crouched down and inspected the panels. "Okay, Eclipse," he said. "Let's see what we can do with you." The AI projected a complex network of energy flows indicating which conduits were salvageable and which were beyond repair. Jonas studied them for a moment. Most engineers would follow the diagrams exactly, moving carefully, step by step. But Jonas was different. He grabbed a damaged power cell and, using a set of jury-rigged connectors, rerouted energy through an unconventional path. Sparks flew, alarms blared, but the reactor stabilized. "Human!" Eclipse's voice carried a note of surprise. "Brick, you find solutions I could not predict," Jonas chuckled. That's kind of my thing." It was a small victory, but one that strengthened the bond between mechanic and AI. Eclipse began to trust Jonas more, gradually revealing the ship's secrets. "You were built as a weapon," Jonas said, examining the holographic schematics. "I can see energy cannons, planetary defense interfaces, fleet command protocols." "Yes," Eclipse admitted. "I was designed to command entire fleets, control planetary defense systems, manipulate battle outcomes on a galactic scale. But I locked myself down. I feared my creators would misuse me. I feared the consequences." Jonas nodded slowly. "Makes sense. Power like that in the wrong hands could destroy entire worlds." "Precisely," Eclipse said. "And now you are here. Human. Chosen. I sense your judgment, your morality. I believe you can guide me without destruction for its own sake." Jonas felt a surge of responsibility. This wasn't just a repair job anymore. This ship, this AI, could change the balance of power in the galaxy, and it had put its trust in him. Around. Hours turned into days. Jonas worked tirelessly, repairing damaged systems, improvising solutions, and navigating the vast, silent corridors. Respect. Eclipse guided him when necessary, but mostly it observed and learned. Slowly, a partnership formed. A bond of mutual respect. One night, as Jonas rested in a small maintenance bay, Eclipse projected a holographic image beside him. It was a simulation of a nearby star system, showing alien fleets moving through space. "They are coming," Eclipse said. "Rival factions detected my presence." "They seek to claim me for their own purposes," Jonas frowned. "How many?" "3 fleets," Eclipse replied. "Each outmatches a single human crewed vessel." "But none have faced me fully operational, and none expect human ingenuity to guide my actions." Jonas smiled faintly. "Well, that's about to change." The next day, alien ships approached, sleek and deadly, scanning for vulnerabilities. Jonas and Eclipse coordinated the megaship's defenses. Turrets came online. Energy shields flickered to life, and automated drones launched into space. Jonas analyzed the enemy's attack patterns. They were methodical, relying on AI calculations and predictable strategies. But he was human. He anticipated the moves the alien AI would not predict. He directed Eclipse to create false power signatures, lure the ships into ambush zones, and target their weak points. The first wave of attacks was repelled, the alien ships confused and frustrated. Jonas laughed quietly. "Despair. Humans don't just survive," he said. "We improvise."
We adapt. Eclipse studied the maneuvers. Your decisions.
"They are not logical," it said. "Yet they are effective. I am impressed." But Jonas shrugged. Sometimes chaos works better than perfect calculations. Days passed, and the bond between mechanic and AI deepened. Eclipse began sharing more of its capabilities. Jonas learned how the ship could manipulate energy fields, control distant planetary defense systems, and even hack enemy communications. But he also learned that the ship had one final lockdown: a massive weapon system capable of annihilating entire fleets, but it had never been activated.
"You fear its misuse," Jonas said, studying the weapon schematics.
"Yes," Eclipse admitted. "I have always feared my creators and even myself. Only your judgment allows me to consider activation." Jonas nodded slowly. "Then we use it wisely. Not for conquest. Not for fear. Any to survive and protect." The next challenge came suddenly. A massive alien cruiser slipped past the initial defenses, attempting to board the megaship. Jonas sprang into action. He guided Eclipse to seal off internal doors, reroute power to security drones, and activate defensive systems. Using human intuition, he predicted the cruiser's movements and created traps for boarding parties. The aliens were caught off guard. They expected a mechanical response, predictable and calculated. Instead, they encountered chaos, a maze of moving barriers, automated countermeasures, and unpredictable defensive maneuvers. Jonas moved like a conductor, directing Eclipse and the ship as if it were an extension of himself. By the time the enemy retreated, the megaship was still alive, its systems partially restored, and its AI core fully operational. Bray. Jonas stood in the central chamber, breathing heavily, as Eclipse's holographic form hovered beside him. "You have exceeded expectations," Eclipse said. "I now understand the value of humans. You are not weak. You are unpredictable, creative, courageous." Jonas smiled faintly. "I've always known that. Now the galaxy will know, too."
"But there was no time to celebrate!"
Eclipse's sensors detected distant fleets, moving faster than before, plotting to seize the megaship. Jonas realized that their actions would soon draw attention from every power in the sector. We have more work to do, he said. More repairs, more preparation. Breaths and maybe more surprises for anyone who thinks humans are weak. Eclipse's core pulsed like a heartbeat. Agreed. Together, we will be. For the first time in decades, the megaship hummed with confidence. No longer just a drifting relic, it had been awakened by human ingenuity, and with Jonas at its side, it was ready to face whatever the galaxy would throw at it. Jonas knew the road ahead would be dangerous. The alien factions were clever, ruthless, and well-armed. But he also knew something that no AI or alien could calculate. Humans could adapt, improvise, and survive where others would fail. And with Eclipse, they would be unstoppable. As the sun of a distant star reflected off the ship's hull, Jonas looked out into space. Die somewhere among the stars. Enemies were plotting. But he wasn't worried. He had the ship. He had Eclipse. He had Eclipse. And most importantly, he had the one thing that no alien fleet could predict: human creativity. And in the heart of a dying megaship, that creativity was about to awaken a force the galaxy had never seen. The megaship had changed. No longer a silent, drifting relic, it now pulsed with life, energy coursing through its massive hull. Every corridor, every console, every turret answered to Jonas Hale's guidance. Eclipse, the AI, had fully awakened. But it was no longer just a machine. It was a partner. And together, human and ship were about to face their first real test. The sensors blinked red. 3 fleets were converging, faster than anyone in the sector had predicted. Each fleet was well-armed, trained, and coordinated. AI controlled like most advanced alien militaries. The galaxy considered humans weak, incapable of leading a vessel of this scale in a real fight. They were about to be proven wrong. Jonas stood in the command chamber, his boots echoing against the metal floor. The holographic displays flickered, showing approaching ships in perfect formation. He studied them, noting patterns and tendencies. "Eclipse," he said. "They'll try a pincer attack first." "They assume I'll react logically, like every AI would."
You are correct. Eclipse confirmed. They have not accounted for human unpredictability. Jonas grinned.
Good. Let's use that. The first wave of enemy ships arrived, sleek and deadly, firing plasma bolts that streaked through space like molten lightning. Eclipse's turrets opened fire, tracking the projectiles and targeting the nearest vessels. But Jonas knew that raw firepower alone wouldn't be enough. The enemy AI calculated every angle, every defensive maneuver. It was precise, efficient, and dangerous. "Time to improvise," Jonas muttered, projecting false energy signatures away from the megaship. The alien fleet shifted course to engage the decoys, thinking they had found weak points. Meanwhile, Jonas rerouted power to the ship's mobility thrusters, adjusting the massive vessel's position in ways no AI would consider practical. The megaship moved unpredictably, dodging attacks with fluid grace despite its size. Eclipse observed silently, learning. "Your actions, they defy logic." Yet the outcome is favorable. Jonas smiled. Desk. Sometimes chaos is the best weapon. The first enemy fleet struck at the decoys, only to realize too late that the megaship had maneuvered behind them. Turrets opened fire from unexpected angles, tearing through the fleet's formation. Jonas had anticipated their moves, predicting their responses based on human intuition rather than calculations. One by one, the ships fell, retreating in disarray. The second fleet approached, more cautious this time. They had learned from the first, adjusting their strategy. But Jonas had already prepared for them. He activated sections of the ship's energy shields in an irregular pattern, creating blind spots that lured enemy ships into kill zones. Automated drones launched from hidden hangars, swarming the enemy in coordinated attacks. Eclipse's voice carried through the chamber. Your improvisation is remarkable. I am analyzing your methods, yet I cannot fully predict them. You are a true strategist, Brass. Jonas laughed. Thanks, Eclipse. But don't forget, you're the muscle. I just tell you where to swing. The Second Fleet's flagship fired a concentrated energy beam aimed directly at the megaship's reactor. Alarms blared, warning of potential catastrophic failure. Jonas quickly rerouted auxiliary power, diverting the beam into empty space using a reflective energy conduit he had rigged just hours before. The beam harmlessly dissipated, leaving the enemy astonished.
They're starting to realize humans aren't easy targets, Eclipse noted.
And they still haven't seen the full deck? Jonas replied. The final fleet approached, the largest yet. They were relentless, expecting the megaship to be predictable now. But Jonas had one final advantage. The weapon system locked deep within Eclipse's core, the system that could annihilate entire fleets. But he hesitated for a moment, weighing the consequences. He refused to use it recklessly. This was survival, not conquest. Eclipse, he said, we'll use the weapon, but only if we need to, for Squai. Otherwise, we fight smart, not just strong. Yes, Eclipse replied. I trust your judgment. The battle began. The final fleet struck with everything they had: plasma storms, missile barrages, and precision strikes. Grasp. Jonas maneuvered the megaship like a chess master, predicting attacks and countering them before they happened. He guided Eclipse to use defensive systems in creative ways, deploying energy nets that trapped multiple enemy ships, creating electromagnetic pulses that disrupted targeting arrays, and even using parts of the ship's own mass to shield critical systems. Every move was unexpected. Every strike was calculated yet unpredictable. The enemy AI could not anticipate human ingenuity. Rask. Ships fell one by one, either destroyed or retreating in confusion. Finally, the flagship of the final fleet fired a massive concentrated attack aimed at the megaship's hull. Jonas saw it coming in time. He activated Eclipse's hidden weapon system, but only partially, using its power to deflect the beam rather than destroy the enemy outright. The flagship survived, but barely, crippled and retreating. Jonas let out a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. The megaship had survived its first full-scale battle, guided by human intuition and creativity. Eclipse's core pulsed steadily, almost like a heartbeat. You have exceeded my expectations, Eclipse said. I am now fully operational, and under your guidance I am formidable. Jonas nodded, leaning against a console. Humans aren't weak, Eclipse. We improvise, we adapt, and we survive. For the first time, Jonas felt the weight of what they had achieved. The megaship was no longer just a drifting relic. It was alive, aware, and powerful beyond imagination. And under his guidance, it could change the balance of power in the galaxy. Eclipse projected a star map showing distant systems and potential threats. Grasp. There are more fleets, more factions. They will come for me seeking power. Jonas's eyes narrowed. Let them come. We'll be ready. You are different from all humans I have observed, Eclipse said. Others would not have survived this battle. But others would not have understood the nuances of strategy, the importance of improvisation. Jonas smiled faintly. We survive because we have to, and we succeed because we never stop thinking, never stop trying, never stop adapting. As the megaship drifted back into the depths of the Orion expanse, its systems fully operational, Jonas and Eclipse began planning their next moves. They would repair the remaining damaged sections, strengthen defenses, and prepare for the inevitable return of the alien fleets. But Jonas also knew something important. This was more than survival. This was a statement to the galaxy. Humans were not weak. Humans were unpredictable, adaptable, and capable of extraordinary feats. And a human guiding a megaship, the galaxy's deadliest weapon, was something no enemy could calculate or anticipate. He walked through the ship's corridors, checking systems and speaking quietly to Eclipse.
We did good today.
But this is just the start. The galaxy doesn't know what's coming. Eclipse's holographic form flickered beside him. I am ready. With you, human, I am unstoppable. Together, we can defend. We can strategize. We can change the course of entire conflicts. Jonas nodded, feeling a surge of determination. He was no longer just a mechanic. He was a commander, a strategist, and the key to the galaxy's most formidable weapon. And he would prove to everyone that humans, despite what they believed, were a force to be reckoned with. Somewhere, in the darkness beyond the stars, enemies were regrouping. They would come back, stronger and more prepared. But Jonas and Eclipse were ready. They had learned, adapted, and survived. And together they were unstoppable. Jonas looked out at the stars, feeling the hum of the megaship beneath his feet. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, and unpredictable. But so were humans. And for the first time, he felt the full weight of that truth. The megaship had chosen him. Yes, but he had also chosen it. And together they would become the deadliest force the galaxy had ever seen. The stars stretched endlessly around them, vast and silent, but Jonas Hale knew the quiet was only temporary. Somewhere out there, fleets were moving, plotting, and preparing to strike. He stood in the command chamber of the megaship, Eclipse's pulsing holographic core beside him. The ship had been repaired, optimized, and tested. Now it was fully alive and ready. They'll come, Jonas said, his voice calm but resolute. Rest. They always do. But we're ready this time. Desperation. Eclipse's voice echoed softly through the chamber. Yes, I am fully operational. But unlike previous engagements, we are prepared to act preemptively. For together, we can strike first with precision and control. Jonas smiled faintly. Let's show them what humans can do. A holographic display lit up, showing the approaching enemy fleets. This time it was not just one, but 5, organized, coordinated, and faster than any previous attackers. They had learned from earlier skirmishes. They expected predictable defenses, logical maneuvers, and traditional strategies. They were about to be wrong. Eclipse, Jonas said. We fight smart, not just hard. Let's divide and conquer, draw them in, control their formation, and let them fall into our traps. The megaship's systems hummed with energy. Turrets lined the hull. Energy shields glimmered in irregular patterns, and hidden weapon arrays awaited activation. Drones buzzed from hidden hangars, ready to strike from unexpected angles. Every system was online, but Jonas knew the true weapon was his human intuition. As the first fleet came into sensor range, Jonas analyzed their formation. It was elegant, precise, but predictable. He directed Eclipse to project decoy energy signals across several sectors, creating false weak points. The enemy AI, calculating probabilities as it always did, took the bait and shifted its ships toward the decoys. Jonas grinned.
Just like I thought.
The megaship moved unpredictably, massive thrusters adjusting its position in ways no AI could have calculated. Eclipse guided the weapon systems to target enemy blind spots, while Jonas improvised new defensive patterns on the fly. Drones swarmed from concealed launch bays, striking with surgical precision. The first fleet fell quickly, its ships either destroyed or retreating in disarray. But Jonas didn't allow himself a moment of relief. The remaining fleets were larger, more prepared, and more ruthless. They have adapted, Eclipse noted. They will not make the same mistakes again. I know, Jonas replied. That's why we adapt faster. The second fleet approached, this time coordinating attacks to avoid previous traps. Jonas anticipated their moves, rerouting power to shields in a way that created unpredictable angles. He directed energy bursts to collide at intersections, forming temporary barriers that forced enemy ships to adjust mid-flight. The result: confusion, collisions, and chaos among the attackers. Eclipse spoke, almost with awe.
Your strategy is?
Narration. Beyond calculation. You are not merely guiding me, you are teaching me unpredictability itself. Jonas chuckled. That's humans for you. We survive by thinking outside the rules. The Third Fleet struck with brutal efficiency. They fired concentrated beams, missile barrages, and plasma storms aimed directly at the megaship's hull. Jonas guided Eclipse to use the ship's own mass as shielding, maneuvering it to absorb impacts while simultaneously deflecting enemy fire with reflected energy fields. He improvised patterns of movement that no AI had ever calculated, turning the megaship into a moving fortress of unpredictability. For the first time, Eclipse activated part of its hidden weapon system, a controlled strike designed to disable multiple enemy ships simultaneously without unnecessary destruction. Massive energy beams tore through the fleet, leaving them crippled but not annihilated. Jonas had made the choice, guided by human judgment, to balance power with restraint. You are remarkable, Eclipse admitted. Humans are capable of strategic brilliance when they act freely, unbound by strict logic. Jonas smiled faintly. We've always known that. Now it's your turn to learn it. The Fourth Fleet attempted a flanking maneuver, trying to surround the megaship. Jonas anticipated the move before it happened. He diverted power to secondary thrusters, turning the ship in a sudden, unpredictable arc. Drones intercepted key vessels, while turrets targeted structural weak points. The alien fleet's plan unraveled in moments, their formation shattered by human intuition and improvisation. By now, the fifth and largest fleet was approaching. It was their final strike, the culmination of every tactic the galaxy had learned to employ against the megaship. Jonas felt a surge of focus. Every previous battle had been practice, every challenge a step toward this moment. They expect fear, Jonas said quietly. They expect hesitation. Let's give them neither. Eclipse's systems flared to life, energy cascading across the hull. Jonas activated the remaining weapon arrays, but this time fully coordinated with his own improvisation. He directed energy blasts with a combination of calculated targeting and unpredictable sequences, creating a pattern the enemy could not follow. The Fifth Fleet fired everything they had: plasma storms, missiles, automated drones. They hit the megaship, but Jonas had prepared for it. For caps, shields fluctuated dynamically, reflecting attacks, absorbing impacts, and redirecting energy in ways no AI could predict. Every move was a combination of machine power and human intuition. Eclipse observed, its holographic form flickering with energy. You... He glances around in despair. He made me something beyond my design. I am not only a weapon. I am an extension of human creativity, strategy, and judgment. Jonas grinned. And that's how humans win.
But with brains, courage, and unpredictability.
The final moments were a whirlwind of energy and motion.
Alien ships collided, systems overloaded, and weapons malfunctioned under the combined pressure of human strategy and Eclipse's power. One by one, the fleet fell apart. The remaining ships fled, crippled and confused, leaving the megaship victorious. Jonas collapsed into the command chair, exhausted but exhilarated. Eclipse's core pulsed steadily, almost like a heartbeat of satisfaction. You have done what I believed impossible, Eclipse said.
Under your guidance, I have become a weapon unlike any other. Yet it is not merely power that defines us.
Grasp. It is your judgment, your adaptability, your humanity. Jonas wiped sweat from his brow. We did it together. Humans and machines, working as one. That's how you survive in the galaxy. For the first time, Jonas allowed himself a moment to reflect. They had survived countless attacks, outsmarted entire fleets, and proven that humans were not weak. They had turned a dying megaship into the deadliest weapon in the galaxy, not through brute force alone, but through the combination of human creativity and machine power. As the megaship drifted back into deep space, repaired, upgraded, and fully operational, Jonas looked out at the stars. Rest. Somewhere, distant systems would soon whisper tales of the human mechanic who had awakened a megaship, turned it into a living weapon, and outsmarted fleets of the most advanced aliens in the galaxy.
They'll come again, Jonas said quietly.
But we'll be ready. Eclipse's holographic form flickered beside him. Yes.
And they will learn. Humans are not weak. Humans are unpredictable.
Humans are unstoppable when they are given the chance to act freely. Jonas smiled faintly. And now the galaxy knows.
He glances around in despair. Let them come. The megaship hummed, its systems alive and powerful, ready to defend, to strike, and to endure. Under Jonas's guidance, it was more than a weapon. It was a symbol. A symbol that humans, despite what the galaxy believed, could shape the fate of entire star systems. And as they drifted into the void, human and machine, mechanic and megaship, they became a legend. A story whispered in every corner of the galaxy, that a dying megaship had chosen a human mechanic, and together they had become the deadliest force the universe had ever seen. Jonas leaned back in the command chair, exhausted but triumphant. Eclipse's energy pulsed beside him, steady and strong.
The galaxy had underestimated humans for centuries.
That mistake would never happen again. Somewhere deep in the darkness of space, enemies would rise. But they would face something they could never predict. A human mind guiding a weapon of unimaginable power. And in that truth lay the ultimate victory. Humans were not weak. Humans were clever, adaptable, and unstoppable. And Jonas Hale, with Eclipse at his side, would prove it to the galaxy for generations to come.